Toronto's breaking news.
Well, Rob Ford has started what could be the most important day of his political career. We're showing you an exclusive look at Ford this morning as he left his house. When he returns later today, he may or may not be still the mayor of Toronto. We've got to look ahead at the appeal decision that will decide his fate today. Let's go live to CP24's Cam Woolley. Cam, we're showing this footage here. I know you're camped out at Osgoode Hall, where we are expecting Mayor Ford a little bit later today. All right, break down the legalities of this. What are we expecting to play out there in the next 2 hours?
Well, in a little less than an hour, Melissa, Mayor Ford's lawyers and the other lawyers will get a copy of the decision from the court here, and at 10:30 we'll get a copy of that. 3 learned justices have been going over Justice Hackland's ruling on the Conflict of Interest Act legislation that ordered Mayor Ford out of office. And what their job is to simply see if Justice Hackland made a significant error in law. Now, Mayor Ford's lawyer is arguing that Mayor Ford is basically an honest politician who had a lapse in judgment. And right in the legislation, a lapse in judgment is a bit of an escape route. The other side, though, saying that Mayor Ford did what he did deliberately, brought up his own matter and then voted on it, and that he did so. And frankly, his own testimony didn't help him much. Now, once the ruling comes out, if Mayor Ford loses, there is a long shot he could try for the Supreme Court, but that is unprecedented in this legislation, too. Back to you.
But so much up to this point has been unprecedented, Cam, on always twists and turns. Thank you so much. All right, live now to Katie Simpson, just down the street from where Cam is. She's at City Hall outside of Rob Ford's office this morning. What's the activity like, the atmosphere there, Katie?
It's quite busy already, and we know that the mayor's press secretary and some of his staffers are here. Take a look. They've actually set up some velvet ropes to keep camera people and reporters back from the entrance to the mayor's office. The last time we had a major court decision involving Mayor Ford, we had quite the scrum here. It was quite large, and some people apparently I wouldn't say got hurt, but there was definitely some uncomfortable situation there. They want to keep everything civil, so that's the plan right now. Now, we've been getting reaction here at City Hall. We spoke earlier today with the president of the Toronto Board of Trade, and she spoke about how this political instability is causing some concern that large businesses and business owners tend to want to gravitate to places where there is political stability, and that's not something we've seen here at Toronto City Hall. We also spoke with former mayoral candidate Sarah Thompson, and she says that she predicted something like this. She ran for the office of mayor against Rob Ford for 10 months, spent every day with him for 10 months, and she said she isn't surprised to see something like this happen. And so, Mel, we're going to continue to gather reaction, and some councillors are going to be meeting us very shortly to talk about what they're expecting today and what happens next. Melissa.
Yeah, thank you so much, Katie. Now, speaking of councillors, we have one with us right now live in studio, Giorgio Mammaliti, aka Mammalati, because that's your name now. You're live here with us this morning. Okay, we're so glad you're with us because this could potentially be a changing day at City Hall. For our viewers, can you break down into layman's terms, what are the options of different ways that this day could play out?
Well, if the courts rule that he stays in office, then it's obvious in terms of business back as usual, unless, of course, something else unfolds. But if the courts uphold the decision, then there'll be an immediate meeting called by the deputy mayor to figure out where we go. And it's either a by-election, it can be an appointment for somebody outside of council. It can be an appointment for one of us on council, and we've got to go through a procedure if that's the case, and it's a voting procedure within the council chamber. So it's an interesting time. We'll see what happens.
We've been saying this is uncharted territory. If, in fact, the original decision is upheld by the 3 justices today, which means that Ford is out, I would imagine this would set in motion perhaps a chaos of some sort, a fury like we have never seen at City Hall. What are you hearing from the inside about what could happen if that indeed is the case today?
Well, it's funny that you asked that question, because if you were to ask me if we were going to have a by-election 2 weeks ago, the sentiment down there was absolutely not. We're not going to be spending the $15 million it's going to cost for a by-election. If you ask me that today, I'm telling you that I think that most councillors right now would support a by-election.
Really? Why do you say that?
Most councillors on the left support it because they want a left-leaning mayor in the city. and will do whatever they can to get it. And those on the right now are saying it's a technicality that the courts have created. Let's give this particular mayor a shot at this. The $15 million was not really determined by council, but the courts in terms of the outcome. So now the right are starting to say, let's spend the money and let's give him an opportunity to run for his seat back for this technicality.
All right, so let's talk about what is happening also in the background. You as an insider, as a councillor, we've read reports that if there indeed is some kind of by-election, that people perhaps are already sniffing around to see what kind of campaign funding they could maybe gather at this point. Is that really actually happening?
Absolutely. You've got to. You've got to start asking questions. Can I fund a campaign? A typical mayoral campaign will cost about $1.5 million. This will last a few weeks, so I would imagine it would cost at least $500,000, maybe more.
Wow.
And most people can't afford that on their own, so they have to try and raise the money. Yeah, of course, those questions are being asked all over the city. You're starting. There's already camps created in terms of who's supporting who and which candidate they want. So I'm just going to sit back and watch this one.
And I'm watching you smirk the whole time that you were watching this unfold. It's going to be an interesting day. I hope you'll check in with our reporters live at City Hall this morning.
Oh, I'll be around. I'm not going anywhere.
Councillor Mammoliti, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.